No! Please, no! I cannot do it! Hear me, sisters who control the threads!
We will help you defeat Zeus. I will show you the way to the Sisters of Fate. Behold the island of creation. It was created to prevent all from reaching the three sisters.
Another searches for what only the sisters may give.
Hidden deep within the spire lie the sisters.
Not even a Titan know how to reach the Sisters' Temple.
They control the threads of fate.
The fates have not deemed victory for you.
Gain control of your thread, and you will be able to return to the moment when Zeus betrayed you.
Gaia speaks nothing but half-truths and falsehoods. There are things far more important than your revenge.
But our brothers are dead.
In you, Zeus feared the destruction of all he stands for.
As proof that he is worthy.
No, Kratos! This will be the end of us all! You must stop!
Accept this sacrifice.
My blood to illuminate the way.
Kratos, like the fiery phoenix who is resurrected from his ashes, you too search for a second chance at life. Find these ashes and free the phoenix. Only then will you find the path to the Temple of the Fates.
You know not what you do.
Welcome back to Let's Play more God of War 2. In the previous episode, Kratos had met and killed both translators because a sacrifice of blood was required to unveil the Temple of the Fates. But now that the temple has been revealed, we still have no way to get to it. Not yet, anyway. Now it's time to release and free the Phoenix from the depths of the Palace of the Fates. We release the Phoenix, we will have a path to the temple where the sisters are at last. So yeah, that's a succinct recap of what happened last time, if the previously on didn't help you out. Welcome back, God of War 2. Last time I had to end pretty abruptly because a lot of stuff happened at the last minute there with the Cerberus fight and then getting the Gaia Gift of Health and then actually having to solve the puzzle of the translator. Anyway, what I was trying to say at the end of the last episode is that we're coming up on both of Gaia's final gifts, the Gift of Health and the Gift of Magic, which is the final extra secret bonus health upgrade and the final extra secret bonus magic upgrade of the game. We already upgraded our health and our magic 3 times using Phoenix Feathers and Gorgon's Eyes, but the 4th upgrade comes from opening the Gift of Health and opening the Gift of Magic. Unlike in God of War 1, where we got those things all together by collecting 2 Muse keys and putting them in the correct door, and finding the secret door that leads us to the secret break area where you can get both the Gift of Health, Magic, and extra red orbs. Those 3 gifts, the Health, the Magic, and the extra red orbs, are all hidden throughout the playthrough. So the Gift of Red Orbs was back in the Bog of the Forgotten. The Gift of Health was, just now before the second translator, and the Gift of Magic will be coming up in just a little bit. But before that, we have a big fight here with some basic Destiny's Atrium Cyclopes. They fight exactly as they did back in Destiny's Atrium. This time there aren't even any boars for them to throw at you. It's just them, fighting in groups of 2. Unfortunately, by this point, you've probably used all your magic in the previous fight, the fight with the Cerberus breeders that make all the little Cerberus pups that can grow up in the big Cerberus and quickly overwhelm you. I said that it was priority to use Head of Urali magic in that fight, and it is, but, doing that means that you're not going to have magic to speed up this fight. So I am double speeding this fight because I'm just doing the same strategies I did in Destiny's Atrium, which is just running away from the Cyclopes. That forces them to basically do nothing most of the time unless you want them to attack you. You can basically control the pace of the fight just by running away from them. Very straightforward. It takes a little less time, thankfully, because our Blades of Athena are so high leveled, but there's still a lot of them, and the strategy is just me running away and doing attacks every now and again, so I didn't want us to have to sit through all of that, so therefore I just sped it up until they were all dead. I messed up the QTE there, but thankfully, unlike in, say, Chains of Olympus, messing up QTEs in God of War 2 isn't a death sentence. You don't lose that much health for messing up the QTEs in God of War 2 as opposed to say Chains of Olympus. Chains of Olympus really punished you for not doing QTEs correctly, which is why sometimes I would recommend in that game not doing QTEs at all, because it was very difficult to do some of the QTEs and you got punished really heavily. But thankfully in God of War 2, that is not the case, because God of War 2 has slightly better game design. Not that, not that any are head and shoulders above the others. They're all very comparable to each other, but very clearly, in small quality of life ways, God of War 2 is a little better than Chains or others in general. So, yay for God of War 2! I don't know why I went back outside. I thought that maybe I missed something, but I didn't, so I just ran back in here and wasted a few valuable seconds. So, quick save, and now we enter into the third section of the Palace of the Fates, which is going to be this big underground area where the Phoenix is residing. Before we can actually get to the main brunt of it, though, we have a second elevator trap. The first one was the one with the flies. This one is with skeletons. We saw the skeletons back in the Bog of the Forgotten, and they're back here for this elevator fight. They remain not difficult to deal with. One basic combo from high-level Blades of Athena is probably going to get them down to QTE kill range. You want to make sure you use QTE kills because it's usually not a guarantee you'll be able to do the you'll be able to kill them if you don't do a QTE kill. You might, especially at this point where with your weapons. Your weapons and magic so high leveled, there's a much better chance that regular attacks are going to be enough to kill them. But anytime you see the circle pop up above them, you're going to want to make sure you do it, just in case. And it's just a little bit faster, a little bit more guaranteed for the kill. Anytime you're not killing skeletons, you want to be moving this elevator down. You do have a bit of a grace period before the spikes crash down onto the platform that Kratos is on, but you don't get that much time. So make sure you're constantly moving the elevator down. Once you get to the very bottom, you're going to have to open that gate yourself, but you're also going to have to deal with 2 more skeletons. The skeletons always pop up in pairs, thankfully, so you're not going to be overwhelmed by like 10 skeletons jumping at you all at once. It is relatively forgiving that way. This is something the skeletons can do. I didn't actually get it to happen in my playthrough, so I'm just showing off someone else's footage here. So source for that footage is linked, but there it is. There is the other footage that I used. Sometimes the skeletons can jam up the elevator, but that's not a big deal. Just means you attack them a little bit, and that's it. You're done. You're good. With the elevator trap out of the way, we can move on into the proper next section of the Palace of the Fates. We're going to get the title for it in a little bit, but this is the Phoenix Chamber. This is the third area of Palace of the Fates. In terms of difficulty, it is almost as difficult as the first section. It's definitely more difficult than the section leading up to the second translator. I would still say escorting the translator is a little bit more difficult to do than the stuff we're going to be doing here, but not by that much. There is a very difficult combat puzzle that's coming up here that is quite difficult, that I really don't like all that much. I died here. Unfortunately, some bad timing with the freezing and the attacking, and not good parries, but it's been a while since I died. Like I said, my actual recording of God of War 2 came out really well, and I died nowhere near as many times as I thought I was going to, especially in the sections where I expected it to happen, which was Theseus, which was escorting the first translator. That's a big area that I thought I was going to die in a lot. And the big puzzle combat room that's coming up in a little bit here in this video is another area I thought I would die in a lot, and I didn't, which was very, very nice surprise. This particular fight with the Gorgons here, is an area where you can exploit an infinite red orb glitch. You can do this even in the PlayStation 3 remaster of God of War 2, as well as the original PlayStation 2 version of God of War 2. So there is going to be a link and a card that pops up that will tell you how to do the infinite orb glitch. But basically it involves shattering a Medusa and you know, like dying or restarting at a certain point. I don't really do the glitch myself because I don't really need it all that much. I mean, in Titan mode, we're not going to ever have enough red orbs to upgrade everything, but it doesn't really matter because all the things that need to be upgraded, I upgrade. So, and you know, the things that I don't upgrade, which is like, you know, the Barbarian Hammer, the Spear of Destiny, the Atlas Quake, I don't really need them for the story mode of God of War 2 in Titan mode, so I don't really care all that much that I didn't get them fully upgraded all the way. But if you were looking to get everything fully upgraded all the way for like the trophy and stuff, then there is an infinite red orb glitch there that you can see the video how to do, and it will, you know, it will help you get enough red orbs to upgrade everything pretty early on. Well, not that early on. We're almost done with the game at this point, so not that early on, but you know, with enough time to play around with your powered up stuff before the credits roll is what I'm trying to say here. So we have a difficult fight coming up. This is not the difficult fight. This is actually where the final Gaia gift is hidden. You will notice when we slide down that there is a health chest, and there's also going to be a magic chest. That magic chest is there to help you get Gaia's gift of magic, not to use for this fight. You don't want to bother with using any magic for this fight. You don't really have to. All the enemies here are unarmored, or the archers from God of War 1. So just kill them just by grabbing them, and you will be able to save yourself from having to use any magic, which is good because you're going to need a little bit of it to get Gaia's the final magic upgrade. So make sure you get the magic here and not the Rage of the Titans. You don't need Rage of the Titans. You need magic. You also need Typhon's Bane, and you need to shoot at that wall 3, 4, 5, 6 times to break the wall. In there is Gaia's final gift, the gift of magic. So we're just going to do a little spinneroony, a little fly in there, and here we go. We got ourselves some extra red orbs, but more important than that, we have the final Gaia gift. This is the gift of magic. This is our final magic upgrade of the game. Hooray! Our health and our magic are back to where they were all the way back in episode 1. Very, very slowly filling up the magic bar, but it is getting filled up. There we go. At this point, this is a thing that I didn't know the first few times I played God of War 2, but you can break the wall next to Gaia's gift of magic, and there will be a secret lever. Secret lever. There we go. I can speak the English language sometimes. You pull the secret lever, and you can detract spikes, making this next area even easier than it already was. It was already not that bad to navigate this area with the Icarus wings and just staying out of the way of the spikes. But now that you've made the spikes retract into themselves, it's even easier than it already was. So hooray! I believe now we have a cutscene.
The ashes of the Phoenix. Only fire will set him free.
Yes, so now it's time for the Phoenix Chamber. We have one big goal, which is to get the urn with the Phoenix's ashes into the fire. We have to get it into that molten lava there, that fire, and then we will be able to do what Lachesis told us to do, and we will be able to have a path to the Temple of Faith. It's actually kind of weird how Lachesis is, telling us, hey, you can't do this. You can't actually go into you can't defy fate. You can't do this. You can't do that. But then once we're here, these red apparitions of Lachesis appear that give you directions for what to do, and they call Kratos by name, which means that Lachesis is probably directly speaking to him. So she's kind of got this hot cold thing going on, where she's like, you can't do this, but then also this is how you do it. It's kind of weird. I'm not that big a fan of it. I like it a little bit more than novelization, because Lachesis has an overt interest in Kratos in the novelization of God of War 2, which explains why she's more willing to give Kratos hints and stuff even though ultimately she doesn't really want Kratos to succeed. She likes to watch him try to succeed, which is how the novelization describes it. She likes watching him try to defy fate, but she doesn't want him to actually do it. So that's basically what's happening, but the game itself doesn't do, that great of a job of telegraphing that. It's more the novelization that fills in the blanks of what's going on. This room is a pretty basic spike trap room. Hold the lever, you have a limited amount of time before the spikes reappear. Basically, we need to find a way to slow time so that we can navigate our way across the room effectively. And there is our Statue of the Fates, but first we have to deal with these enemies and collect the red orb chests, and then we can, use the things properly. Unfortunately, I messed up here. I was hoping to keep the enemies in the spike area so that when the spikes rose up, they would automatically die, which is what happens. They automatically die if you leave them in the spike area when the spikes rise up. But they got out just in time, which is a shame. It's also kind of a shame that the way that the Amulet of the Fates works is once you slow time, if the second you do anything, you try to rotate a lever or open a chest, or you do anything that requires you to press R1, the slowdown immediately ends, which kind of makes it difficult to open both red orb chests here in one go, which I'm not a big fan of, but it is what it is. At least at this point, we have enough red orbs to upgrade Kratos' Rage to the max level, which is good, because that was the other thing that we desperately needed fully maxed out. The next thing we're going to focus on is the Typhon's Bane and Atlas Quake. Again, in terms of the main playthrough of God of War 2, the only things you legitimately desperately need in order to finish the game in an effective manner is fully powered up Blades of Athena and fully powered up Chronos Rage. If you have those two things fully powered up, and fully powered up Head of Euryale, if you have those three things powered up, then you're going to be fine for all of God of War 2. So prioritize Blades of Athena, Head of Euryale, and Chronos Rage, and you'll be fine for the entirety of God of War 2. We got out of that spike puzzle room. We slowed down time, we rotated the lever, we slowed down time after we finished rotating the lever again to have enough time to escape the room, and here we are, getting some more red orbs. Again, I'm still going to be upgrading things at this point, but in terms of the things that we needed to have upgraded, Blades of Athena, Head of Euryale, Chronos Rage, those things are fully powered up, and we're not going to worry about... we don't have to worry about powering things up before a certain point anymore. So the three most important things that we had powered up, that we needed to power up, are powered up now, so we're done. Now we can just play the game casually, relaxed, I say, as we're about to enter one of the most difficult combat puzzles in the game. This is the actual Phoenix Chamber. This is the Chamber of Fire. This is one of the most difficult rooms. Our goal is going to be to push this statue towards the end of the room. That big Phoenix statue at the very end is going to keep spewing fire at regular intervals. Every few seconds it's going to spew fire at us. And if that wasn't enough, one scythe and sword enemy and two harpies are going to drop down to make life difficult for us. They are infinitely respawning, so if you kill the harpies, more harpies will take its place. If you kill the sword and scythe enemy, another one is going to drop in to take its place. So it's not worth your time to... It is not worth your time to kill them. Just use Chronos Rage once to... hopefully I've fully leveled up Chronos Rage at this point, to stun the enemies and keep them off your back for a few precious seconds as you push the statue. Otherwise you're in for a bad time if you don't have any magic. Oh boy, this room is very, very difficult. I'm stubborn. I'm trying to push the statue here even though I shouldn't, and finally I learned my lesson and decided to go back and refill on health and magic. You do get one magic chest and one health chest before the actual room that I would recommend you only use when you actually desperately need it. Otherwise, you're going to run out of magic too soon. You're not going to have enough for the entirety of this room, because this room lasts a while, and you're going to need to use Chronos Rage at pretty regular intervals. It's not great. This is a very, very difficult room. I can't believe I did this in one go in my recording. Keep pushing, keep using Chronos Rage every time the enemies get near you. Just one, you have to conserve. You absolutely must conserve or you're not going to have enough for this entire room, and this room lasts a while. You have to get this statue all the way to the button on the left. It has to be the button on the left, not the button on the right. If you put it on the button on the right, things are going to play, the things that happen are going to happen in such a way where you're not going to be able to actually escape the room. I really thought I was going to die here, but thankfully Rage of the Titans helped me out quite a bit here. Put the statue on the button on the left to open the gate. Button on the right lowers down the the grapple point. If you put the statue on the button on the right, then the gate is not going to remain open once Kratos steps off the button to grapple onto to the platform of safety. This is an extra chest here. Though that is an extra red orb chest and magic chest. I would absolutely recommend not going after them in Titan mode. They're not. It's just not worth going after them in Titan mode for any reason. You just don't have enough. You take too much damage. You don't have enough magic to justify that refill of magic that you get there. It's a very, very difficult room. I hate that room so much, but we got through it somehow in one try. I still don't really know how I did that in one try, especially considering that I died here. In this comparatively easier fight, I die, whereas in the Phoenix Chamber proper, the actual fire room, I didn't die at all. But whatever. That chamber is difficult. Use regular intervals of Chronos Rage. Unfortunately, doing the regular intervals of Chronos Rage is going to mean that you probably don't have enough or any magic for this fight here. This fight is a bunch of Hades Minotaurs, the God of War 2 Minotaurs, and skeletons from the elevator and from the Bog of the Forgotten. They're both back for a dual team-up here. It's kind of difficult. The Hades Minotaurs have that annoying unblockable attack that I don't like, the one where they do that big spin. Not those ones. Those attacks it just did are all blockable, but they're fast, which is also annoying because they do so much damage and they're fast. It's not great. It is an annoying fight following an annoying combat puzzle, an annoying and overly difficult combat puzzle, but it is doable. The God of War 2 skill checks are the Theseus fight, escorting the first translator to his book, and this dual section where you have to go through that fire chamber. That fire chamber pushing the statue, and then immediately followed by this fight. These are three of the four big God of War 2 skill checks. Getting past this means that there's only one more truly difficult thing coming up in the game. I mean, everything in God of War 2 Titan mode is difficult to a degree, but even compared to all the rest of the difficult stuff, there's only one more truly difficult section coming up, which is going to be the last enemy gauntlet of the game. If you've gotten past Theseus, if you've gotten past the first translator escort mission, if you got past this section, this double whammy of the pushing the statue puzzle and this fight, then you're gonna be good to go for the end of the game. The end of the game is still pretty gosh darn difficult at points, but it is doable, especially after you've gotten used to how extremely difficult God of War 2 can be in the Theseus fight, in the first translator escort mission, and in the statue pushing room. You will be ready to a degree for the final enemy gauntlet coming up in the next episode, if you were able to get through the first three big skill checks of God of War 2. I rambled on, but now we're done with the Hades Minotaur fight. Now it's time to move on with the story. Okay, moving on with the story. We have gotten the Phoenix out. We have revived the Phoenix. It's not free yet, but we have revived it, so we're halfway done with our goal. It's time to leave this, the basement of the Palace of the Fates. The Palace's Undercroft, if you will. It's time for us to get out of here. The only enemies that are going to stand in our way are going to be more of these God of War 1, AG, and C unarmored undead soldiers. So, very simple to deal with them. Just grab them, toss them. I don't really know why they threw these unarmored soldiers at you for this part of the game, but it is what it is. Don't give horse in the mouth. At this point, we have 2 more chests, and now we get to move on to the 4th section of the Palace of the Fates, the final section of the Palace of the Fates. This final section is going to wrap up with 2 boss fights and a whole bunch of cutscenes, so I hope you're ready for that. But first, we have to put that jewel into the mouth of Boreas, and he's actually pronounced Boreas. I've been calling him Boreas this whole time in all the other games that this god's name appears in. But according to God of War 3, according to Athena in God of War 3, that god's name is actually pronounced Boreas, the god of the North Wind, and not Boreas. So, you know, okay. I'll roll with it. I got no problem with that. Upgrade our Barbarian Hammer to level 2. Nice. Our next upgrade is going to be Atlas Quake. Again, we don't need this stuff to finish God of War 2, to have a chance of finishing God of War 2. At this point, I'm just upgrading stuff just to have a little bit of a leg up once we get to Challenge of the Titans in the extras video. Because all of your Red Orb progress in the story carries over when you... It carries over once you finish the game and move on to things like Challenge of the Titans or Arena of the Fates. So, good idea to start upgrading all the rest of this stuff anyway, even though we don't actually need it. Now we're going to have a cutscene of us freeing the Phoenix. Cool. Phoenix is freed, but now we have to actually get to it. There's always got to be something. Phoenix is way over there. We can't do anything yet to actually reach it, unfortunately. Which means we properly move on to the 4th and final section of the Palace of the Fates. Again, this is going to be a very short section. Very straightforward, just a couple of basic puzzles and then 2 boss fights to wrap up this final section of the Palace of the Fates and move us into the end game properly. Like I said in the previous video, we've already been in the end game because Palace of the Fates is like the final big exploratory area. But after this section, we will properly be in the ending of God of War 2. So at this point, I was just reminding myself how many red orbs I needed to upgrade my Atlas Quake. Again, we don't need it for anything at this point. Again, I just wanted to make sure I started to have a little bit of a leg up for Challenge of the Titans by starting my upgrading of everything else earlier. Namely, the important things that you want fully upgraded for Challenge of the Titans are going to be Atlas Quake, and later on once we get at the Blade of Olympus. But that won't be for a while, and I'll explain more about how to upgrade the Blade of Olympus in the extras video, because as we'll see later in the main playthrough, we can't actually upgrade it at all during the main story, at least not in a regular playthrough of the main story. But we'll talk about that later. We lower this elevator. We have 2 more of these ranged guys. I think more spawn in after them. Unfortunately, this is a annoying kind of pointless little encounter here. I kind of wished we would have just a fully quiet section with no fighting at all leading up to the boss fights. But I mean, this is Greek saga God of War. We have to punctuate most of the quiet moments with some kind of gore, some kind of violence, some kind of combat here to keep players' attention, I guess. Even though I think this whole little section here leading up to reaching the two bosses would have been a little bit better served if there was absolutely no fighting at all. But whatever, that's a very small complaint. Considering that's the only fight leading up to the two bosses, it's a very, very small complaint to have. This is a little bit annoying. We want to manipulate and push this platform like in between the rising platform and in between the main floor. That way, once you push once you push it up, that the thing would. You'll see. It's annoying. It takes a few tries. I'm not a fan of this puzzle. It's kind of annoying. It doesn't really telegraph what to do. I'm not a fan of just how precise you have to be. But there we go. That's what you want to do. You want to have a little step here so you can actually get in and ride this platform up to the top. Gate's locked, but we have this pillar here, thankfully, so we can go ahead and just break that chain and go ahead and open the lock. And now we can activate this mechanism that will let us actually create a bridge. Create a bridge over to the Phoenix and actually allow us to leave the Palace of the Fates once and for all. So hooray for that. Yay. Yay, yay, yay. As I said, though, we're coming up on two boss fights. They're going to mark the end of the Palace of the Fates, as will a whole bunch of cutscenes and story. Can't wait. This is a really good part of the game. I really enjoyed a lot. Before that, though, we have one last red orb chest for the Palace of the Fates. Well, actually, the one of three final red orb chests for the Palace of the Fates. The last two will come after the boss fights. But this is a nice secret little chest there with a whole bunch of red orbs you can get. And here we go. Boss fight number 1.
I have come too far to fail.
Okay, the mysterious stranger. You don't want to... It doesn't really matter. You're going to get all your health and magic back for the second boss fight anyway, so do whatever you want to deal with the stranger. He is relentless. He is relentless. If you want to use Chrono's Rage to speed things up a little bit, go ahead. I just attack and do parries. But if you want to speed it up a little bit, feel free to use any magic. This guy is relentless in his attacks. He doesn't really stop for anything. You can't really stun him. This is just a parry. This is just a parry fight. It's just a parry test. Just a test to see how good you are with your parries and how good you are at dealing with constant barrages of attacks. He doesn't do that much damage, the stranger, but he does. He doesn't do nothing. So. Don't take him lightly. You can die. You can die to this guy. Obviously, in Titan mode, he can die pretty easily to most things. It does take a while. It does take quite a few sword slashes for him to get you down. And he himself has quite a lot of health, but he's not that bad. And he is really just a precursor to the next boss fight. The next boss fight is also not that bad. This is a parry. This is basically just a test of your parries. And the next one is going to be a puzzle boss. So the bosses that are coming up here are not that difficult, but don't sleep on them. I lost more than half my health to this guy, and that was just because I was sloppy. So don't be too sloppy. Use a little bit of magic if you want. Like I said, you're gonna get it all back for the next boss fight anyway. We're done.
You? My lord?
I told you to return to Sparta! Why do you leave Sparta unprotected?
Sparta is no more.
What treachery is this?
Zeus. He came under the cloak of darkness into Sparta. They begged for their god to save them. But you did not come. was left with no choice. I had to seek out the sisters to change the fate of our beloved Sparta. For I am all that is left. Now you are all that is left. I have faith that our brothers of Sparta will live on through the true God of War.
Zeus! Is this how you face me, coward? I am through doing the bidding of the gods! Come down here and face me now, Zeus!
You cannot do anything in this part. This is a scripted moment. Kratos can't die, Kratos can't take damage. He is just angry, and the Kraken will catch him in a moment. I'll see you after the next cutscene.
Sorry, my love. Can you ever forgive me?
All is not lost, Kratos. You must go on. There is much at stake here.
I cannot defeat the gods.
Victory favors you, Kratos. But you must grab hold of your destiny and command it. There is a war on the horizon, and we need you to lead us into battle.
To what end?
The death of Zeus. If you relent, Zeus will torment you still. He will not rest knowing you live. And when you die, his brother Hades will see that your soul is tortured for all eternity. You will have no rest until you destroy him. Take within you this fire that burned your beloved Sparta. Let it fuel your rage and hasten your steps towards destiny. The time to act is upon us, Kratos. This battle is just the beginning of a great war that is to come.
Okay, the last boss fight of the Palace of the Fates, the second boss fight of the Palace of the Fates. This is the Kraken. We got a Rage of the Titans upgrade. I'm going to explain what that is in the next episode because it's not super clear what that is right now, but it's very, very important for the end of the game and for the final boss. So we'll get to the Rage of the Titans upgrade, but in another video because that's more important for later stuff than for now. Kraken is usually super easy, but I actually had some pretty bad luck and it actually killed me once in the actual recording, which is kind of a shame. Considering I did so well in tougher sections, that this very easy boss managed to kill me. It's kind of annoying. Anyway, Kraken, you want to use Rage of the Titans to lift one of its legs over the button that activates the wind current that we saw at the very beginning of the Palace of the Fates. The Kraken was really being a jerk to me, just really relentlessly just attacking me again and again. It doesn't usually attack this much. Which is something to keep in mind. It usually just yells and screams and stands around. You want to get the body of the last Spartan onto the button to activate the wind current. Once you've activated the wind current, you can just go ahead and attack the face of the Kraken. That's the actual weak point. That's where you're actually doing some damage. Attack it enough, and it will drive one of its legs into the pillar, into the area where the wind current was coming out. Now at this point you just need to climb up and attack it. Like I said, this is a puzzle boss, not a boss. This isn't that much of a test of skill, even though it really was kicking my butt quite a bit. In my actual recording, I actually died to this. I cannot believe I actually died to this because this is usually such an easy free boss that the fact that it actually killed me and just relentlessly kept attacking again and again was really, really annoying for me. Just having that a little bit of bad luck, but I mean, it evens out considering all the good luck I had in the other difficult sections of the game. Anyway, once you've cut off one of the legs, you move on to the phase 2. Phase 2 is the same as phase 1. Just attack the leg enough to lift up the to lift it up again. Put the body of the last Spartan on the button. Activate the air current. Fly up. Attack the face. It will occasionally attack itself. It does a lot of damage. Obviously, it's Titan mode, but it very, very rarely attacks. So it's not that big of a threat. Again, I was so surprised at just how much it attacked me and how aggressive it was in this playthrough. You can use magic if you want here. You got a whole refill after all. I usually save my magic for the final phase of the fight, but we'll get to that in just a second. To end the second phase of the fight, you have this second leg you have to get Kratos to climb on. It's a little bit difficult to get him to climb on it, but once you do, you just destroy this little thing, this little bit of rock here, and just destroy this leg, and you move on to the final phase of the Kraken. Final phase of the Kraken is different from phases 1 and 2. You don't have to lift up the one leg anymore to put the last Spartan's body on the button to fly on the airstream. You don't have to do all that anymore. It's more straightforward. Now you just have to lift up both legs at the same time. So you have to do big damage to both of the Kraken's legs. Use your magic here. Use Kronos Rage. Use Rage of the Titans. Do whatever you have to do as much damage as you can to both legs. Once both legs are as I was saying before the boss fight ended so abruptly because I did it so fast, use your magic and your Rage of the Titans to lift up both the legs as quickly as possible. Then you can push the lever to activate the bridge and kill the Kraken. There you go. The end. Hooray! We're at the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Let's Play God of War 2. Next time, we're at part 1 of our 2-part finale. Hope you enjoyed. Next time, we'll be in the Temple of the Fates. So, bye-bye.